So, today we're going to dive into a massive, totally unplanned experiment in education that, well, it affected the entire globe. We'll see how a team of researchers in Sri Lanka found a way to turn all of that chaos into some crystal clear insights. Let's explore how they did it. I want you to think back to early 2020. I mean, what a moment of disruption, right? For millions of students and educators, the physical classroom just vanished, seemingly overnight. And this posed a huge question. How do you keep teaching and learning when you can't even be in the same room? The answer, of course, was a massive emergency pivot to online learning. Those tools that used to be kind of supplementary, like learning management systems, or LMS for short, well, they suddenly became the entire school. This was not some gradual transition. It was a full-on emergency response. Okay, so this sudden shift created a brand new, really complex problem. It's one that universities in Sri Lanka face head-on, and it gives us a perfect case study to look at. All of a sudden, every single interaction, every login, every assignment submission, every little forum post, it was all being recorded. Universities were now sitting on a mountain of digital information about what students were doing, a mountain that just got bigger every single day. And this data wasn't simple stuff. Oh no. It was coming from all these different systems, and it covered all sorts of categories. Was a student at a state-run university or a private one? Were they an undergrad studying IT or a postgraduate in law? All these little details were there, but they were like puzzle pieces scattered across a dozen different boxes. A total mess. And that was the million-dollar question, wasn't it? I mean, having a lot of data is one thing, but making any sense of it is something else entirely. How could they possibly see the patterns and trends that were hidden inside all this digital noise? To solve this, researchers turned to a really powerful tool designed for exactly this kind of challenge, the data warehouse. Okay, to really get this, just imagine the raw data as a super messy library. Books are just thrown into piles all over the floor. A data warehouse, then, is like the process of building the shelves, creating a catalog system, and organizing every single book so you can find exactly what you need in seconds. It brings order to the chaos. Now, there is a formal definition, coined by the guy they call the father of the data warehouse, William Inman, and it really hits on these key points. It's integrated, meaning it pulls everything together. It's time-varying, so it tracks changes over time. And, crucially, its whole purpose is to support decision-making. The magic behind building this thing is a process called ETL. It's really pretty simple. First, you extract all that raw, messy data from all those different systems. Then, and this is the most important step, you transform it. You clean it up, fix errors, make sure it's all in a consistent format. And finally, you load that clean, organized data into your central warehouse, ready to go. Now, the researchers didn't just wing it. They used industry-standard blueprints. They started with something called Kemble's bottom-up approach, which is great because it focuses on specific needs first so you can get useful results really fast. Then, they organize the data in a star schema. Just think of it as a simple structure that makes it incredibly fast to ask questions and get answers. So, they built the system, they organized all that messy data. Now for the really exciting part, what did they actually find? The team was really smart about this. They focused their analysis on 3 very distinct time periods, which let them see a clear cause and effect. They looked at LMS usage before the pandemic sent everyone home, during the peak of that first lockdown, and then after that initial wave started to fade. And here it is, the first major finding. You can see LMS usage across different university types. Before the pandemic, usage was okay, it was moderate, but look what happens during the lockdown. It spikes dramatically across the board. State, private, semi-government schools, everyone saw the same thing. But here's the most telling detail. Look at what happened after that first wave. Usage didn't fall back down. The crisis forced a change, and that change stuck. And get this, it wasn't just about the type of university. The trend held true no matter what students were studying. From technology and commerce all the way to the arts, the pattern was identical. This shows a fundamental shift in how people behave across the entire higher education landscape. So the crucial point is this. The data showed without any doubt that the pandemic dramatically sped up the adoption of technology in higher education, right across the board. It wasn't some niche trend, it was a universal shift.
All right, so the data is crystal clear, but what do these numbers really mean for the future of the classroom? What's the so what here?
So let's break down what we should really take away from all this. First, a crisis can be a powerful catalyst for change, right? It forced years of tech adoption into just a few months. Second, it proves that students are incredibly adaptable and totally ready for more tech-integrated learning. And finally, it shows that without tools like data warehousing to make sense of all that noise, these crucial insights would have just stayed buried in the chaos. It's the key to understanding massive changes as they're happening.
But, and this is a really important point the researchers made, just because usage went up doesn't mean everything was perfect. This quote highlights that the quality of the experience matters a whole lot. A poorly designed platform or lack of support can lead to a ton of frustration, no matter how much it's being used.
Ultimately, this whole data-driven journey gave us an incredible picture of how student behavior changed. But it also opens the door to the next, and maybe even more fascinating question. Why? Why did some approaches work so much better than others? Answering that is the next great challenge, and it's going to be the key to building the truly effective classroom of tomorrow.